First things first, you already win. You already him. You don't gotta pretend. Fuck them. You already king. You stay real. You confident in your skin. It's all now. Sit in the power that you already in. This the story of a master from a true Bedouin, far away from home than few ever been. First round pick, eager to smooth gentleman. The game rigged like 50 said it's a cool sentiment. I'm from the era when lyrics and bars is over everything. 5-star veteran. You couldn't walk in my fucking shoes or carry him.
What up? How y'all doing, man?
Married to the game like ever since. Maybe 2010 I realized most of
What's going on, yo? This is How Billy Sees It. It is November 2nd, episode 103, I believe. I can't believe we've done it. We are in the 100 era, the centennial era of How Billy Sees It. And we are on episode 20 of our series 30 for 30 episodes in 30 days. I'm just getting on and talking and spilling the beans and sharing the thoughts and the mind and tackling complex concepts and making them simple. Also tackling simple concepts and hopefully making them simple, breaking them down further, sharing my thoughts. Some people have been able to comment, and share their replies with me, some in messages. I really appreciate them. Some on comments underneath the videos, just kind of, the interaction I really appreciate. I appreciate the live interactions as well as the ones that come after. I see all of them and read all of them, and I hope I do a good job of replying or at least interacting with them myself. But I hope y'all are good. It's Saturday, and I've just been chilling. It's been a relaxing Saturday. I've been playing a little Overwatch. I've been doing a little music. Got some new music coming out, hopefully soon, and having fun, yo, relaxing. It's November 2nd. We have a big election in 3 days. Everyone can't stop talking about it. The news is going on and on and on. Look at these two candidates. The world is about to be completely different. Make sure you vote. And I just haven't really been inspired in the same way about these two candidates or about this whole political cycle. I haven't been inspired by the traditional horse race candidate political cycle, fundraising, polling, rigmarole every 4 years, every 2 years. I haven't been into that for a long time. I did not vote. I haven't voted for a Democrat my entire adult life or a Republican. Green Party has been typically my party of choice, and for different reasons all the way through. But now, in particular, there's just so much trash, so much terrible stuff going on. I want to remind people that when Donald Trump was president, people were screaming in the streets and protesting because of, babies in cages on the border and because of the wall. And in less than 4 years after, with Joe Biden doing literally the same policies, literally the same advancement of the wall and more right-wing posture towards immigration, literally issues with children being separated from parents in the same way, that people have forgotten that. People are now more willing to accept those things. The things that used to once cause people to scream and cry in the streets are now, what can you do? We got to vote for him again, even this is still a lesser. Even concepts like genocide. Genocide is a word that is fewer than 100 years old. It was a word that was born out of the crimes of World War II and of Hitler. The condition of violent fascist racism of Europe that I learned about as a kid, that I learned to be one of, if not the greatest horror, the worst thing humans can do to one another, and genocide. And an entire international relations apparatus was created for us to better coordinate, because we can't allow simply the free range, the either whatever you want to call it, the market, the free range of all of the potentials of violence, and we need to be able to quickly notice and identify bad actors and bad actions and bad intent, and then mobilize ourselves to stop them. And that was the whole premise. That's what I was raised up on. And now we're in a condition where, if anything, people would consider the Republicans would be the ones. These are the military guys. These are the ones getting the funding from the military. These are the ones hawkish. We got to watch out for this right wing tendency towards the military industrial complex, and right wing. Also, right wing tends to be nativist and nationalist and hell bent on elevating the differences between us. So you watch out for the right wing. Watch out for the genociders on the right wing. And we have now a condition through the Israeli proxy, the Democrat Party, the supposed Labor Party, the supposed Working People's Party, the supposed Party of Peace, the supposed party of equity and fairness, is now actively, the current president actively, proudly sends billions of dollars to fund a genocide. So what do you do? Who can you vote for? How can you to me it's simple. It's a continuation of how I've seen it for years now. The two political parties have gone so far afield that it's very easy for me. I'm confused by people who really struggle with this. The only way to struggle with it is if you've been given a different story, if the options have been constrained so much and you've internalized a story that you have no options. You just got to, that's what the lesser evilism story means. That's the concession. That's what it believes. It believes that we're completely powerless and we simply have to continue to move wherever this Democrat Party goes in particular. That to me is absurd. That's just if we understand politics, we need to pressure people. We need to realign and redefine our relationship with the politicians such that they recognize that they are in service of us, that they are to represent us, that they need to be following us. It is not us that follow them wherever they go into the depths of hell and monstrosities. It is that they follow us and that we are the ones with set the moral compass. We are the ones who are, we're not being lobbied. We don't have this horrendous, expensive funding cycle that we have to be dependent on the donor class. We have a sense of reality and a sense of morality that they can be bought out of, and so they have to follow us. And that's the thing. And that's really the most I have to say about that. Sheba's going in a lot more on the political stuff, in particular with voting, than I am in terms of like expressing her opinions. My opinion can be expressed if it's asked, I guess, of me, but I really think that the work is much deeper than these two political parties. It's always been that. And I think even now, with all of the fuss and the craziness and people screaming, it's still bigger than the two political parties. The work continues after November 5th. I've been saying this since way back, and it continues. And so that's why I do the stuff I'm talking about. For me to get underneath the political stuff, to get from under this conversation that the politicos, the people with the cameras have teamed up with the people who are, the politicos and the clowns have all gotten together and they've kept us on this level where we're looking at polls and, 50%, 49% this, and then the reds and the blue states and the swing states and the Democrats and the Republicans and the swings. And how can you get the swing voters? And then the pollster says the independent voters and this, and then whole narratives around that, reams and hours of content. For me, I'm interested in a deeper conversation about what is. And no matter who the president is, we'll need to pressure them. And no matter what happens going forward, we'll need to work with each other and be able to see each other. And we need to have better conversations than the ones that are fed to us. I'm really passionate about that. We need to engage in better conversations. We need to lead and engage in better conversations than the ones that are fed to us and modeled to us. More true conversations, to engage in truth. And when you get engaged in truth, as much as it's been awkward for me, engaging in truth, deeply engaging in truth means engaging in God. It means engaging in a conversation about religion and not religion. Let me take that back. A conversation about faith, a conversation about spirituality. I really do think it's all one thing. So even when I say religion and then I back out, religion is it's part of this. Religion is just an outgrowth. It is to me, religion points to the human manifestations of the divine relationship with humans. It is the human organizing itself around an idea of what the divine is and how to communicate with it and how to engage with it. And these things, because they're human and they're human endeavors, they start to take on certain attributes. They need to perpetuate themselves. They need to raise money, and they need to appeal to people and create attachments and stuff. But you know, and so there's negative things, and people point to it and go, okay, I don't like religion, but it is what is. It is a part of what is. And so it is a part of God. Religions are part of God, just as much as you and I are, just as much as, our ideas about the good are a part of God, you know what I'm saying? So when I think about God, people say that God is everywhere. I think that like God is everywhere, but most important, it's inside of me and inside of you. And again, because it's a word, I'm pointing to something when I say God, but God really escapes words. Each of us, and again, these religions attempt to give language to what God is, but that God is something greater than the words can ever be marshaled. Your best bet is to try to point to something and then describe this space over here and then say, okay, this is evidence of God, or this is part of God, but that God is really actually the whole thing. God is really the whole thing plus. It includes like the aspirational self. God includes the things that we can't see, the things that we don't know, the unknown unknowns, but also the known unknowns. Wait, known unknowns. It's everything, but it's also the aspirational. Applause for that. It's like when I think about God, God is like, it's like, think about the greatest thing you could think of, or the greatest thing you could do. And that's also God. It is the thought, the concept, the idea of something greater than the self. Because the self is what it is. The world is as it is. There's nothing mystical about that. That's what we call the realm of science. We give language, things that we know about and we can label and categorize. The scientific realms try to cover that. They try to give us an understanding. Then we could tell a story, and then we have a fairly decent enough map about what is, especially what we know. We can't have a map about things we don't know. But anything that is outside of that, anything aspirational, enters into the realm of the spiritual, into the realm of the creative. And it's like God. It's like God. I can't believe, the younger version of me, bro, who was an atheist, would be laughing a little bit. But I hope that he would be willing to hear what I'm saying and actually try to catch the words and not be stumbled by the words, but to understand that I'm pointing to something else and to grasp with it. Because I'm telling you, I really stayed away from the word God. I realized that everyone had a different idea of what it means in their heads. And so to me, it was something to avoid. I mean, that's proof that it doesn't exist, that it's nonsense. It's everybody's talking about something entirely different, and people are just referring to things. But that's part of the crazy magic of it, is that it's so varied. That points to what we're talking about. There's an isness about this experience that escapes language, escapes definition, escapes description, and the things in that realm, for lack of better words, are spiritual and God, and particularly those things that, well, all things. So when I talk about like the aspirational stuff or the like the vision, the dopest thing I could want, the thing I could want, it's crazy to notice that this is an evolving thing. It's an evolving thing. At 42, the greatest thing I can think of is very different than the greatest thing I could think of when I was 5. When I was 5, I wanted these little games and toys, and I wanted them very badly, and it was very important, yo. Applause. Think about that. If you have any children, yo, think about like how your children don't like the things that they care about, and try to grasp how important it is to them and why they're crying and screaming, that they don't have a conception of all the things that you have, the full breadth of potential things in the world. They have a much narrower sense, and the things that they care about, and they have to grapple with serious feelings about. And if you ask them, so, this kid, when you're a kid and you're praying to God, like, what do you ask for? You ask for shit that a kid would ask for, but it evolves. And when you get to your 40s, when I was 16, I prayed to be good enough to play in the NFL. And I used to pray for different things, but that was one thing consistent. I busted my ass and I just prayed to be healthy and like as fast as possible and the confidence so I can make it to the NFL. And that was one of the biggest thing I could think of. That would like, I'd be able to make a ton of money and help my mom, help the family, and play this game and be famous and get a ton of women. And, bro, it was in my head what was an ideal condition for me. And it was the thing I prayed for. At 42, I have a very different sense of things. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my man on Maestro says, salute, B. I really dig your bars, bro. Bump your joints off and now I'll sit back and enjoy the combo. Man, Maestro, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that, man. I've got some new music coming out too, so check out for that. It's coming soon. Just finishing some things and working on a video. But like so yeah, like 16-year-old Billy was focused on being an NFL player. 22-year-old Billy wanted to be a senator for a couple of years there. I was serious. I was in DC in the political scene, and I wanted to understand that was a huge goal for me. That made sense. That was my future, and I had anxieties around that. I wanted to build a reputation of being a measured and like politically astute person, and now I don't want that at all. There's nothing about that that's exciting to me. You know what I'm saying? So, but I wasn't wrong when I was 16, and I wasn't wrong when I was 22. You know what I mean? And I'm not wrong now for the things that I want now, but I love myself now. I don't know what I would be if I was someone who was good enough to have made it to the NFL. I don't know what that would look like. I'd be a totally different person. I'd definitely be a totally different person if I stayed in the political route and I was still kind of in the Democrat circles and doing that thing. Absolutely not. But it's gotta like, I just feel like it's got to evolve. It's got to evolve. And what I've noticed is this comes back to the whole thing about, again, with God is also, it's all one thing. And the strength is in being present. The strength is in being present. The strength is in not being attached. Imagine if I was still attached to being in the NFL today at 41, my old ass. Maybe I kept it. If I was, I kept in even better shape, let's say, than I am now. But even then, you know what I'm saying? If somebody calls me up, I'm like, yo, son, I'm just training to be in the NFL. I'm trying to make the league, son. I'm training. I'm still training. They be like, what? Really? Even from love, like, hopefully not make fun of it. Like if someone's dreams are in a certain place, hopefully we don't destroy that person. But from love to, to point out that like, look around, man. Look how beautiful your life is. You know what I mean? Like, look how beautiful your life is, Billy. You still trying to make the NFL? Like, you're not 20. And, maybe there's other stuff. There's the XFL. There's the indoor league. There's the UFL. Like, be present and then look around at what you have and actually be able to get into what you have instead of being stuck somewhere. This is a big thing. I try to convey this a lot because I feel like a lot changed for me when I realized that when I realized in my presence, when I stayed present, I could see so many more options. It pulled me towards animation. It pulled me towards music. Um, when at one point I thought my life had to go a certain way, and all of my aspirations were in a certain direction. Um, but as time goes on and things pull you in different ways, it's like it's the aspiration of God, and then it's the letting go of things. You know, um, to be present again means to let things go and to be grateful for what was, and even more grateful for what is. And recognizing that what is like is what you're perceiving. You're perceiving only a small part of this thing. We've been trained to perceive things in certain ways. Sheba says you don't have to keep the same dreams you had when you were a child. Yep. Maestro says, go Commanders. That was my childhood dream as well, but knowledge of self took over fast. Yeah, man. Knowledge of self. Notice self. Come to grips with self. Accept. Love self. It's a beautiful thing. When you love yourself, you learn to love other people. You learn to accept other people. When you accept your own decisions and your own complexities, not just the good stuff about you, but the bad stuff. Understanding too, right, that the things we call bad, the bad stuff, the shadow, these aren't bad things. The word bad, see again, bad fails us. If you think bad means, oh, that, you know, these are bad things, these are shameful things, these are things that you should not talk about or something, that is wrong. It's like there's nothing, anything that is true is of value. Anything that is true should be woven into our understanding and accepted. Because without that, man, we create these shadows. And then we block ourselves. We're blocking certain potentialities for ourselves. And then, as I said, like when you block potentialities for yourself, this inner voice that you have that is blocking yourself, you are also projecting that inner voice to others. And so when you see other people making free choices, free from that inner voice, you assume that everyone has the same inner voice that you have, and it almost reflexively, you can't help but dislike something. Hate shows up in one way or the other. You know, you have to judge when it's like, actually, God is everywhere. God is in that person as well. God is in you when you were making wrong decisions. You know, when you were interested in something else, and you kind of misread things, and maybe you went off on a tangent for a while, did some things that weren't perfect. That was part of your process, and that was for your benefit and for your growth. And when you see other people out there, you know that they're also going through that and making those decisions. So we don't have to be so tied up in our judgments. I mean, that's how I see it. You know, God is all things that we can see, all things that we can't see, including the things we call positive, including the things we call bad. And the word bad and the word good, these are all subjective framings and human framings that are like, that God is not concerned with. God doesn't care about that. So learn to incorporate all of this stuff so that you can be a full person, so that your perspective is even like closer to what reality is. And I think it allows you to engage entirely differently, you know what I'm saying? And like take your shit in a totally different place. The world is full of all these reminders on how you should be. The world is all these reminders. I grew up in Brooklyn. Oh wait, let's see. Maestro says, "Go from niggas to God's book changed my life. 100 put me on a whole nother wave." That's what's up. I'm not even familiar with that book, Maestro. I'm gonna check that out. Thanks, bro. Yeah, I mean, from niggas guys, interesting title. I say in this joint and on these episodes, like the power of words, man. Even the word nigga that we have, like, we've taken that on and we use it to mean brotherhood. Sometimes we also, it also carries with it a set of definitions. When someone, if you take on the idea of a nigga, if we're honest about it, it's not all positive. We assume niggas are, I mean, it is an offshoot from what white people used it to be. These are people who are something less than the good, something less than another human, citizen. These are black people who are shiftless and lazy, all of the stereotypes that they put on us. And sometimes when you own that shit, you actually own it and you start to perform it, right? Because you're like, fuck yeah, I'm a nigga, I'm that nigga, I'm the nigga. And so obviously we have that nigga, we change it to like, that's a positive when you say I'm that nigga. Okay, cool. I could take as long, see, it's like when they say like, if a white person says the word nigga, I'm not a fan of that. We need to definitely like check these motherfuckers. But also, it doesn't matter. What matters more is what you think the word nigga means. If you own that and you identify with it, what do you think it means? Because you're performing that. And you got to be mindful of that. And that's why, again, from the niggas to guys, I'm definitely going to check the book. But like, yeah, if you then take the label God and adopt that and believe that and understand what that means, or king, which is something I've seen, right? Cats will call themselves king. Well, what does that mean? Like, take that seriously. Does king, when we say king, it just means that we're rich, that we have jewels and we're rich and we're important and we're powerful, and we have land and just all this cool stuff? Or do we take the fullness of it? Does it also mean, responsibility? The kings have to make sure motherfuckers have food. Kings have to make sure the roads are paved and that, people have access to certain freedoms and this and that we keep people safe. And there's all that stuff involved. But cats, we take on these stories, and I want us to like just notice that we are God. God is everywhere. God is in us. God speaks through us. And we can always, at every moment, make the choice to do the bigger thing, the aspirational thing, whatever that means for you. Because some people got an idea of what that is, and for them, it's entirely different. For me, man, I love the idea. I'm about to work on my third album. I'm excited about the idea of working on my third album. I'm excited about the idea of touring one day. I've never done a live show. I'm excited. I know I'm going to be on a stage one day with people bumping my shit and spitting the lyrics with me. So that's a huge aspiration for me. I couldn't even imagine that. I couldn't have imagined that 10 years ago. For someone else, it's like dancing. It's like some kind of dance they want to do. For someone else, it's like improving their relationship with their parents or improving their ability to be calm, or to love their children or some shit. It's like all of that is God. It's each of us has a journey and a test and like stumbling blocks, and we're just here. We're here. We're alive. We're alive. We're in the present. Holy shit. Applause for that. We're breathing. Can you believe it? There's no reason that our neurons could work this way and that our heart pumps what it does, and the veins and the capillaries and the eyes and the cones in the eyes work, and the shit that you're seeing, if you're seeing me and hearing me, that the vibrations are working, that you can make sense of those words and like reinterpret them. And we didn't do that. We didn't like actively do that. We just got gifted that. It's like, here, boom. And even more like, so that's like all this biological complexity that is a miracle that it exists. But our grandparents had life and sentience like we do, but then we got the internet, and then they gave us, like, I get to play Overwatch 2, and I get to talk like this and reach people, in a way that was not possible before. What a gift, yo. What a gift. It's Saturday. I wake up like, oh, holy shit. I wake up looking at my wife, Sheba, and I'm like, and I'm doing this 30 for 30. I'm gonna get on here and keep getting comfortable. What? I'm like beside myself with so much luck and joy about it, man. So I hope that you, if you're watching this, that you can like approach the day with the same kind of awareness. I'm not changing anything about reality when I do this. It is a mindset. It is an awareness. I'm taking in how absurdly lucky and absurd it all is. When I look at the trees, the complexity of how long those trees took to get to be what they are, and like, it's not small. And yes, my phone's gonna remind me that something in the bank's gonna send me a message and this and that, and so these things will grab my attention, and the advertisements are gonna want me to buy some shit and da-da-da-da-da, and it's grabbing my attention, and my boss, people might call this and that, grabbing my attention. But then like, oh shit, I get to set my attention and my intention, and I can marvel at all this stuff and just be blessed and be happy. So thanks y'all. We at the 30 mark. That's the episode. Jack jumped on, said he's listening from work. That's what's up. Maestro, thanks again for the book suggestion. Sheba, I love you. Yes, that is the magic. The magic of it is it's all in our brains. We are interpreting. There is something externally, but for each of us, we have the power to interpret. And we don't properly realize that when I interpret something, I'm interpreting something wholly fucking different than the way that you interpret something. It's like if I had a girlfriend, my first girlfriend, her name was Tiffany or something, right? And we walk down the street, we cross Tiffany Street. You might walk right past, doesn't matter, it's just another street. But for me, that can trigger a reminder of the high school Tiffany and all this stuff. And everyone is like that. Every color, every word, symbols, images, flashes of light and color, they provide us a texture that is for us, and each of us will experience it. And it's like there's a magic of it, of how it all works out. So I'm all about appreciating it and loving it. And I really thank y'all for being on, I'm gonna let y'all out, like I said, in a couple of weeks, if not next week. I'm dropping some new music, so please look out for it. Thanks again, enjoy your week, and I'll be on tomorrow, 30 for 30.
Shot right now.
Oh, that came on strong, my bad.
Clear throat right when the crowd pipe down. It's kind of like time froze.
Peace,
on ice now.
peace.
Stomach tight, round, flipped
love
upside down.
It's all one thing.
Speak, but the words and the thought took flight now. Sweaty, but can't pause or wipe down. You pray for the day you flow with a hype crowd. Now they hanging on your every word and slight sound. Maybe these critics is wrong. Maybe you twice as strong. What if every fear and doubt was gone? I'm up first, bright from dawn, like fuck it, we yawn. I squeeze life, pythons bite when the mic's on. Peace, I might respawn. I hook left with the right arm, living in 5-star, ring the alarm. My full nature is still greater, I'm twice born. But never the ball, that's the fucking level I'm on. Picture me lost, I'm differently raw. Been through the muck, most y'all instantly barf. Now I'm strictly the boss, drippy, hood hippie couture. Feeding these bitches till it's ripping they jaws. But y'all fans of the bullshit, me flicking it off. I damage your whole clique, these clowns really pissing me off. My verse is heat, and scripted is law. Like, bitch, you fucking know who you singing across? Huh? Okay, you got their attention now, bro. I keep winning. You just gotta keep showing them what it is, man. Keep winning. Your shit different for real, though. I keep winning. Yo, stay away from the politics, I keep winning. Dude. They still not getting the message, kid. I keep winning. They still don't understand where you coming from. I keep winning. But make sure you secure the fucking ground.